start recording. Alrighty, so let's look. We have, hang on, making your guys' room. So go ahead and get your documents up and running. And we'll get going in just a short couple seconds. You guys should be hearing the sirens. Don't be alarmed. That's the what do you call that? The first of the month warning testing signs. Okay, so no big deal. I know I was listening to the radio. I sound like a Tūtū lady right now, but I was listening to the radio and they had just put on a warning that at 11:45 there's going to be testing of the sirens, so not to be alarmed, and we might even get a heads up on our cell phone, so just letting you guys know. Okay, so here we go. We'll put you guys into the groups and then you guys can, then we can get started with our day. Today is basically, we have our trial because we're wrapping up the third quarter, by the way, right? So Friday is the last day of the quarter. As you guys know, Friday will kind of be our sign that we have actually been in distance learning for an entire year. You guys remember that? Yeah. The day before spring break was about to start, right? They were like, no more, we're not going to have a second Ho'ike night performance. That was so crushing. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you guys know how hard people work on the Ho'ike with Ke'alekolani, which I don't know. I think they should do it again since, you know, I mean, that Ho'ike was supposed to be incredible. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna put you guys into groups so you guys can talk stories a little bit, get your bearings straight, and then we'll get started. What I would like you guys to do, I'm gonna put that in the chat, would be to just go ahead and check the rubric. So I'll put that in the chat so that you guys can all get your A's today. I'm hoping that's what's gonna happen. Okay, all right, go ahead, we'll get you in your rooms. About 5 minutes, okay. Yes. Did you get put in your room?
She'll probably correct us if not.
What will I correct you on?
Oh, we're just wondering if for the opening, when we state the claim, that takes like 1 minute or so. Does that include the stance and motive? Like we just put it all in?
You know, because our class is so small, I mean, the time's not going to be too crazy. I'm just looking that everybody's participating at some level. Like we ran my period 1 and there's like 13 or 14 kids in that class. So, you know, we had to manage the time pretty wisely. But for us, it's kind of like, eh. So you'll be okay. Just, are you participating? So if you guys check out the rubric, what I'm going to be doing is on my end, I'm going to be using that rubric and I'm going to just take some quick notes and things like that, just to document that, you know, you guys participated. So make sure that when you guys present, you're saying, you know, scene 1, line 22, so-and-so stated, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then when you get to the elaboration part, just make sure you're connecting the dots. And then just double checking that you guys all showed up for your team meeting on Friday.
Yep. And then
Good.
we went over it.
Awesome. Awesome. I got tied up doing something on Friday, and then by the time I was done, I was like, holy cow, I missed it. So my bad. I figured if you guys had questions, you guys would have emailed me or something. So I'm just giving you guys extra credit points for showing up. And then Tehani, did you make the Zoom? You did, yeah? The Zoom link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm giving everybody 3 extra credit points for showing up during a, a non-instructional time. And then Tehani, since you took the initiative to make the Zoom link, I gave you 2 extra credit points. So when we do it again, meet, whatever, maybe somebody else can get the 2 extra credit points. All right, I'm gonna stop talking.
Thank you. No, not thank you for stop talking. Thank you for the extra credit. Talk as much as you want. I promise.
Are we ready to go? Oh, let's do that. Let's all find the background so that we're like in the court. That would be cool. I'm gonna tell the other group. And then, are you guys ready though? Can I get a thumbs up? Are you ready? Yeah. Hi, McKenna. How are you?
I'm good.
Very good. Holy smokes! Have you guys seen the water? It looks like chocolate milk. Like dark chocolate. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and find the background so that you guys can pretend like you're in the courtroom. Okay, and then we'll get started.
You're good, because I didn't know if that last question, I guess, made sense and would be able to start another argument on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Can you guys can find a picture of, like, if you just type in like courtroom backgrounds, you could probably find something so that we're like all kind of in the same courtroom or something. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay.
Yeah. It's growing. It's growing like your minds and your hearts. Where Kaike go? Okay. Oh, no. All right, and I'm going to close out the room so we can get started with our day. All right, were you able to put on a background? Kamakani, where's yours? I thought I saw you had one. There. Look how fancy mine looks. Yes. It's like pretending to be the judge. Is there another one where you could be like part of like the defense instead of the judge, because we can't have two judges up in her. Okay. Gosh, that was such a Tūtū move. What happened? What? It's like your face turned into what?
got scared. I got scared.
It's like you had like, like puka teeth and
Never mind. I'll just use my imagination.
what happened? Is it not working? Maybe it's because your background is dark and you have like a dark and so your face turned into like the background. Oh, that's hilarious. I've never seen that happen before. Are we not playing along? Are you guys still looking? That was
How do you
hilarious.
do that?
Oh, well, hey, what you do is you go onto Google and then you type in courtroom images, and then you can just drag them to your desktop, and then you go to the lower right hand corner where it says stop video, and there's an arrow down there, and that's how you can say choose virtual background. Got yours, McKenna? Lele, you got one? We're not playing today. Yeah, awesome. Kamakani. Tehani, you sure you don't want to try again? Okay. I was like, oh, what happened? Okay. Anybody else or no? Malia, you gonna do it?
Mine isn't working.
Why?
I don't know. It says it doesn't meet the expectations for it to work.
What? That's weird. Nobody else. Okay, does yours work?
Mine says the same thing as Tehani's.
Well, okay, if we do it together, it won't be that weird.
Let me see. I wonder if I did something on my end. Oh, well. Background filters. Oh, look here. Look, is that a filter? Did you put a filter that you're missing the front teeth, your front teeth? Oh. This is absolutely hilarious. Okay, well, I guess I'm the only one playing then. Great. All right, well, welcome to Antigone versus Creon, trial 2021. Today, we are here not only to prove who was in the right, but also who gets the pass to go to the Elysian fields, which is, the Greek form of heaven. And then who will be condemned to suffer a personal punishment for all eternity in the river Styx. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start with the opening arguments. We're going to have Antigone's defense start first, and then we'll transition over to Creon's team. After that, we will continue with the presentation of evidence from Antigone's team and then Creon's team. third step is that we are going to present our rebuttals. And then we'll have closing arguments. Okay, just as a reminder, everybody should be participating. I will be taking notes as we go through this. This is being recorded, so if you guys feel like I haven't graded you guys accordingly, then we have the video to fall back on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with Antigone. Yes, question.
I just have a quick question. Are we able to respond to the other people's evidence with a rebuttal? Or no?
We're just going to do it. One side goes first, then the other, just so that we have the presentation going back and forth that way. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Antigone's lawyers, please present your opening statement.
Okay. We believe that Antigone was right and she deserves to go to the Elysian Fields because she is innocent. Creon's, how do you pronounce the
Hubris.
Creon's hubris blinded him from the fact that Antigone did not execute any wrongdoing. Instead, it led him to believe that her punishment was well-deserved because she avoided his law and questioned his authority. However, although she disregarded Creon's decree, she did nothing to aggravate the gods themselves. In fact, she obeyed their rules squarely. On the other hand, Creon failed to do so. He dared to overstep cultural codes and ethnic boundaries by ordering everyone to neglect Polynices, denying him his peace.
The firm and straightforward belief that Antigone is supporting is carrying out the laws of God and heaven. She has built a foundation of trust in the reasoning that if one is not given any proper burial, they will not be welcomed into heaven. Her love for her brother and family altogether was her sole motivation and reasoning for her doings. It played an enormous role in her actions and sayings, which also led her to the burial. The relationship that she has with her family took a big step in sacrificing whatever she can to defend their love.
All right, Team Creon, you may begin.
Creon is innocent of all crimes. All that he has done was to profit the greater good of his kingdom, which is his job as king. Although many of his actions are questionable, the greatest evil comes directly from Antigone's childlike and hubris actions. Throughout the story, Creon goes to show that he is in charge of the law of man for his people, not the gods.
Stance and motivation of Creon.
Creon was just trying to make sure his kingdom didn't fall because of a wavering public figure. This is apparent in multiple lines, including 518 and 519, where he expresses that he doesn't want to show himself weak in front of his people.
Right, now that opening.
Creon,
Sorry. Go.
Creon, as the king of Thebes, is in charge of caring for his people. Sometimes he has to put the law before emotions to keep the place in order and in check. Lines 520 through 525 states the woman dies. I suppose she'll plead family ties. Well, let her if I permit my own family to rebel. How shall I earn the world's obedience? Show me the man who keeps his house in hand. He's fit for public authority. I'll have no dealings. State the fact that Creon enforced this law not only for his own pleasure, but for his kingdom to know that the authority and the laws that have been set shall not be broken for the safety of his people.
He tried to fix his mistakes and tried to go well beyond releasing Antigone for Polynices' burial. Once Creon realizes his mistakes, everyone makes mistakes. His karmic punishment shouldn't have been that intense. Like in lines 863 and 865, where it says, "That is true, it troubles me. Oh, it is hard to give in, but it is worse to risk everything for stubborn pride. These lines show that Creon realized the wrongs he committed and was thinking of doing the right thing.
Antigone didn't need to kill herself. It was irrational and she shouldn't have done it, especially since Creon did let her survive instead of killing her. And it seemed like Antigone was in. Oh wait, yeah. Oh wait, yeah. It was predictable that Hymen would visit her, and it was quite dramatic for her to.
Are you done with your opening statements, Team Creon? Alrighty. Next, we will present the evidence. Team Antigone, you may go first.
All of it?
I would suggest picking maybe your top 5.
Okay, so we do 5 at a time and then they'll do 5?
Yeah. And then
Oh.
in the rebuttal, then we could have a chance to go back and forth a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to go?
Okay. So do we state the line first and then the analysis? Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah. So.
Okay. Antigone to Ismene. And now you can prove what you are, a true sister or a traitor to your family. Antigone is but a sad child. What would you do if your own brother were to be cast out to be eaten by vultures? Antigone not only faced the harsh reality of her 2 brothers dying, but the desecration of her brother's body. To not allow anyone a proper burial is outrageous. Do you really expect Antigone to not give her brother a proper burial? To just stand aside and watch as her brother is eaten by wildlife?
Okay, I'll go. Antigone says, "Go away, Ismene. I shall be hating you soon, and the dead will too, for your words are hateful. Leave me my foolish plan. I am not afraid of the danger. If it means death, it will not be the worst of deaths, death without honor." Line 77. Antigone accuses Ismene of dishonor and hates her for ignoring the fact that Polynices is suffering. Who would be so cruel and ignorant to let their own brother rot, untouched and uncared for? Moreover, who would order an entire kingdom to not touch a single body, keeping him out of heaven forever? Creon. Antigone feels so alone for being the only one to stand up for her brother. Everyone looked to her as the enemy when they themselves committed the crime of disgrace under Creon's rule.
Okay, in line 725, Antigone says, "And yet, as men's hearts know, I have done no wrong. I have not sinned before God, or if I have, I shall know the truth in death. But if the guilt lies upon Creon who judged me, then I pray, may his punishment equal my own." Antigone is wrapping this around her belief of supporting the laws of God, and it is in fact that she did not sin before God, therefore not doing anything wrong. She knows that Creon will not decline the punishment that he set for her, so she accepts it and hopes for an honorable death. She says, "May his punishment equal my own," indicating that she feels Creon is the guilty one and prays that he should be punished as much as her. She didn't do anything wrong, yet she's still taking the punishment.
Okay, first 5. Okay. Thebes and you, my father's gods and rulers of Thebes, you see me now, the last unhappy daughter of a line of kings. Your kings led away to death. You will remember what things I suffer, and at what men's hands. Line 735. Because I would not transgress the laws of heaven. Antigone has done no wrong in the eyes of the gods. It is Creon that has denied godly rule and perceives himself with the visage of godly rule.
I have one more. Is that okay? Okay. Antigone says, "I dared. It was not God's proclamation. That final justice that rules the world below make no such laws. Your edict, king, was strong, but your strength is weakness itself against the immortal unrecorded laws of God. They are not merely now, they were and shall be, operative forever, beyond man utterly. Line 357. Antigone puts Creon in his place by telling him that no matter what law he declares, it will be nothing compared to the rules of the gods. He started everything with his decree against Polynices' burial. Antigone decided not to listen because she's not a person to betray her overall spiritual rulers. She's not a person like Creon.
Well done. And now we'll have Creon's defense present their evidence.
Okay, so we know that Antigone believes that what she did for Polynices was honorable, but it seems like she just wanted credit for everything. She killed herself even though she was fully made aware that she could have lived. She could have figured out that someone would have come to save her, and she should have been wary about the fact that Creon, even though his original punishment for her letting Polynices have a burial was death by stoning, but he decided to let her live. Later on, Antigone in line 661 straightforwardly tells them to pity her.
Like in lines 350, 353, where Creon says, "And you, Antigone, you with your head hanging, do you confess this thing?" Antigone says, "I do, I deny it, nothing." This conversation shows that Antigone knew she broke the law and went against Creon's ruling, and shows how she regretted nothing. Creon is king of Thebes and only made this law because Polynices was a traitor to the kingdom and killed his brother for power.
In lines 518 and 519, Creon states, "Do you want me to show myself weak before the people or to break my sworn word? No, I will not." By saying this, Creon makes it clear that he has to prove himself strong and honest and does not have room to waver as a good leader to his people. Leaders need to make hard choices often. It comes with the position, therefore proving Creon's actions as right.
And in lines 90 to 97, it says, striking the white fields of the enemy, Polynices, their commander, roused them with windy phrases. He, the wild eagle, screaming insults above our land, his wings their shields of snow, his crest their martial helms. Polynices was still a traitor to his country in the end. It may even be classified as going against his own blood. Also, Creon eventually gives in to Tiresias and decides to go and properly bury Polynices and let Antigone free. Unfortunately, he couldn't reach her in time because she decided to kill herself.
I think that's all we're going to use for this portion of the debate.
All righty. Now that we have ended our presenting of the evidence section, now we will turn to the rebuttal. Here in the rebuttal, make sure that you guys are using the other character as leverage, right? So, Antigone's team, you may begin.
Okay. I'll start. Okay, so in line 523, Creon says, "How shall I earn the world's obedience? Show me the man who keeps his house in hand. He's fit for public authority." So he believes that Antigone will pay for his humiliation with her life. Creon talks about breaking his own sword in line 519 and showing weakness to the public. Everyone tells Creon only what he wants to hear because he has put himself in a position where he knows everything, except that his temper only terrifies everyone, and they're too scared to express their own opinions because they're probably going to die.
And in line 390, Antigone asks Creon, Creon, what more do you want than my death? Creon straightforwardly says, nothing, that gives me everything. Creon says that if she dies, then he will get everything, meaning he won't need anything else. This alone shows his cruel personality towards her and just how much he wants her dead. He wants that feeling of justification and strength so much that he will kill another for it.
And that also connects to what Wilkea said about him going against his own blood, because Antigone's purpose was to honor her family and her brother, but Creon got so caught up in his greed and pride that he didn't care about it.
Okay, line 550. Your temper terrifies them, everyone. Everyone will tell you only what you'd like to hear, but I, at any rate, can listen, and I have heard them muttering and whispering in the dark about this girl. They say no woman has ever so unreasonably died so shameful a death for a generous act. She covered her brother's body. Is this indecent? She kept him from dogs and vultures. Is this a crime? Death, she should have all the honor that we can give her. Creon, as stated multiple times, is an unjust ruler that rules without even a thought to his people. His so-called, this is that of a traitor to his people, as opposed to the just king that he perceives himself as.
Haimon says to Creon, I beg you.
Hold on. Can we let them rebuttal now?
Absolutely. Creon's team.
I'll go first. You can bring up how Haimon thinks this way and is talking to his dad this way, but it's obvious that he's in love with Antigone, and that makes it really easy for his thoughts and actions, as we see later, to be skewed and reckless. So basically what he's telling his dad is that the people think he's doing the wrong thing, but as stated previously, leaders need to make hard decisions, and this was a very tough choice. He was just being a good leader to his people, even though they couldn't obviously see it.
On the contrary, I think that his conversation with his dad was basically to try to get him to understand that he wasn't doing the right thing, because he was just trying to politely get him to realize that there are other people's opinions, and he made decisions by himself because he didn't listen to anyone but himself. And in line 453 to 456, Ismenes is all like, but your own son's bride, and then he's like, there's no place enough for him to push his plow. I want no wicked women for my sons. So when you said that it's obvious that Haman is in love with Antigone, Creon obviously didn't care about that, because his authority, he chose his own authority over his own son's happiness.
And also adding on to that, Haimon says, I beg you, do not do the unchangeable. Do not believe that you alone can be right. The man who thinks that, the man who maintains that only he has the power to reason correctly, to gift, to speak, to soul. A man like that, when you know him, turns out empty. And even Creon's own son, Haimon, knows how much greed and power he wants to be shown. His moral compass steers him away from the truth and instead brings him to believing that he is always right. I think Haimon isn't trying to just save Antigone, but also Creon.
Team Creon, your rebuttal?
Okay, so sorry. In line 442, it says, Ismene, you are laughing at me, why? Antigone, you're laughing at me, why, Antigone? It's a joyless laughter, Ismene, but can I do nothing? Yes, save yourself, I shall not envy you. There are those who will praise you, I shall have honor too. So here shows that Ismene, Here shows that Ismene insists on dying with Antigone for betraying her and not standing by her side from the beginning. However, Antigone still refuses as she sees that it will lessen her death by sharing it. Antigone wants to be honored with no secret, but was this her plan all along, or was she just genuinely concerned about her brother's passing, who was a traitor to not only his people but to her?
Another thing is that when Creon set this law, it was proclaimed throughout all the people, and everyone knew it. And we see clearly Antigone knew it, but she still willingly went behind his back. And it in lines 353 it says, tell me briefly, have you heard my proclamation touching this matter? And Antigone said, it was public, could I help hearing it? But Antigone, so yeah, now we know Antigone knew it was the law, but instead of talking it out, maybe trying to talk to Creon about it and finding other options to bury Polynices, she jumped right to breaking the law. She could have, as we are now, had a court trial or even got together others who were wrong and protested, but she went straight to breaking the law. Was automatically burying Polynices and defying the law the best option? Was it a call for attention?
I have something to say to that. In the beginning of the story, the whole point is she knew she was breaking the law. Like, duh. She told her sister, I'm going to do it, and no matter what, if you help me or not, I'm still going to do it. And she already accepted her consequences. Like, even when she was having a conversation with Creon, and she's like, just kill me. I did it already. What are you going to do? So, yeah. And also, I also wanted to mention that this entire thing happened way before, in the beginning, even before Polynices died. Eteocles and Polynices were supposed to split the role of a king, but it was Eteocles' fault for what is that called? Throwing him into exile. So, and because he wanted to be king, so why would he like shun Polynices while they're both still living, and like it's his fault for Polynices bringing war to their kingdom of Thebes, but it started with Eteocles' like decree on exiling Polynices, and then in the end Polynices dies and they're like, he's the wrong one, and then they worship Eteocles, but I don't think it should have been like that.
And to add on what, or to come back on what McKenna said, in a, I guess, discussion that Creon and Antigone had, Creon says he would, for you, honor a traitor as much as him. And Antigone comes back with his own brother, traitor or not, and equal in blood. So she's stating that Creon has done wrong, but he will still forever, even in death, be family. And no matter what they have done to each other, he's still the same blood. So coming back to her motivation of family, wouldn't you want to create a good afterlife for someone that you love?
As a rebuttal to Luakea's statement about Creon, I believe it was the best choice, and I don't think Antigone had a choice of whether or not to help her brother. And I don't think Creon would have been willing to listen to her and change his beliefs, simply because throughout the story, many a times we see Creon being labeled as a king that doesn't listen, and it shows in the text that his people are afraid of him. And as he was having a conversation with Tiresias, I guess I'm just going to state that line. Tiresias says, then take this and take it to heart. The time is not far off when you shall pay back corpse for corpse, flesh of your own flesh. You have thrust the child of the world into living night. You have kept from the gods below the child that is theirs. The one on a grave before a death, the other dead denied the grave. This is your crime, and the furies and the dark gods of hell are swift with terrible punishment for you. Tiresias, whom is a prophet that has never spoken a word of lies, has told Creon of his crimes and his punishment. Tiresias, as a prophet, speaks the word of the gods, and the word of the gods is just. It is truth, it is everything.
Is the word of the gods going to keep Thebes running?
I'm sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear the last part. All I heard was, is the word of...
Is the word of the gods enough to keep Thebes running?
No, but it's enough to keep the faith of the Greek people.
There are countless other Greek stories where the gods make a lot of mistakes. That's part of the appeal of why their religion was so big, because the gods were made similar mistakes to the people. So they could have been wrong. Sometimes they go against their own law. Just putting that out there.
I think regardless of godly mistakes, in Greek, in Greek stories, we often see, like you said, God's making mistakes, but God is above the people, and the gods rule the people. And the people rule themselves, but in the end, the gods will have power over the people simply because of the way Greek stories are structured, which are around godly rule, which makes me believe that the gods are above the people and the people listen to the gods,
Adding on to what
To phrase that in
yeah. Adding on to what Kaike said, didn't I think you guys said everyone makes mistakes when you were talking about Creon, and you said God makes mistakes. So of course everyone is going to make mistakes, but there's still higher powers, and Creon being a man, a king, not a god, I feel like God would have a higher power over that decision.
And also throughout the story, how you said that everybody makes mistakes. Creon realized his mistake. Everyone tried to get him to realize his mistake, and he listens, but he doesn't act on it. He decides to ignore it because he believes that he's the only one that could be right in any situation, and he's not going to listen to anyone else if they try to tell him what to do, or if they try to negotiate with him, even that maybe someone else knows more than him, but he's not going to listen because he wants everything to be his way. So if you're saying that everyone makes mistakes, he knew he was making a mistake, but he did it anyway because he wanted to be right.
I think he's just an opinionated person that thinks he's always right.
Adding on to that, when you were talking about how gods make mistakes, I think in Antigone specifically, the law that everyone deserves a proper burial, I don't think that's necessarily a mistake on God's part or the God's part. I believe that that is a just rule that everyone should follow and everyone does follow, but Creon decides to go against that godly rule. Yeah.
As a rebuff for Tani, when you said that everyone makes mistakes, and how Creon made mistakes, Antigone did the same thing, as she thought that she refused to think that she was wrong when she had to bury her brother, and she kept making mistakes like hiding away from her punishment, and then also the mistake of her killing herself too early, I guess.
Wait, I have a question for the jury.
Yes.
So we're like our whole like thing was Antigone wasn't dead, yeah. Like we're pretending she's not dead, yeah.
Yeah, well, when she was alive, right? Was she accountable for her actions? Was she in the right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying any evidence that like after her death on Creon's part would be dismissed simply because we're assuming or pretending that she's still alive, yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
Team Creon, would you like to present any more rebuttals?
Sure. So adding on to McKenna, how you guys said multiple times that Creon refused to admit that he made mistakes. Antigone did the same exact thing as him. She made mistakes from the very beginning. First of all, she didn't need to just go ahead and bury her brother. She could have waited. She could have talked to Creon about it. She could have set up some deals. I don't know. But then throughout the story, okay, she refuses to admit that she made a mistake when she's caught. She explicitly tells them that she will not deny the fact that she's done something that broke the law. And then in the end, she kills herself, which this just seems like a super unreasonable thing to do. Considering the fact that I think that she just did it because she refuses to admit that she's wrong throughout the entire story. So although Creon has made mistakes similar to this, he admits to being wrong and he tries to fix it instead of killing himself. So yeah.
Okay, I understand, but there isn't a point in the story where Antigone's like, I admit I broke the law. She just owns up to it. She decides beforehand that she's going to do this that's going to get her in a lot of trouble, and she accepts it. But Creon takes the entire story and for some convincing, and then he finally listens to this one guy. And then he's like, oh shoot, it was my fault. And that's understandable. But Antigone realized her consequences and accepted them before she even did anything.
And adding on to that, Antigone, I think she knows that this was all going to happen from Oedipus's story and what happened to him and his fate. She knew that whatever happens is going to happen and it's not going to change. And it's the inevitable truth. There's no happy endings, but she could have at least tried.
She accepted it because she thought she was doing the right thing, and she never thought that she was in the wrong. That's why she accepted all the punishments, because she believed that burying her brother was an act of loyalty and pride to her family.
And Creon, before wholeheartedly admitting his wrong and going to try and fix it, remember the original punishment was death by stoning, but he put her in a vault to live. So in a way, that's kind of him realizing something is off. So he doesn't kill her. He puts her in a vault. Who killed her? She killed her.
But isn't that worse? Isn't that worse than, so she wanted to die because she was going to take the punishment. She wants an honorable death, but her living isn't honorable. She's technically getting punished and no one's, I guess, thanking her for it. So I think she wanted to go to the afterlife with her brothers, but instead she has to live. She has to be there.
So it's all about the honor for her then.
It's not about the honor for her. It's just about how I think Creon knew that her living is worse than her dying.
Was Antigone's, was this her plan all along? Like, was she planning on, let me do this so that way I can get the glory and then people will feel bad for me? Because since it's not about the honor, or
Her motive was all about the honor, but not for her, for her brother. So she didn't care about being famous and like being known as the girl who stood up to King Creon and buried her brother, all she wanted to do was give him a proper burial, because she knew that without that he wouldn't be able to go to heaven, and she believed that she should have stood up for someone of her own blood. Nothing had to do with glory and fame or anything.
But Polynices didn't do the same for his own brother. She was honoring him because of their blood, but Polynices didn't honor Eteocles because of their blood. He killed him. Although they killed each other, like, he still made war on his own brother. So using blood as an excuse, like, doesn't really make sense in this scenario. Another thing that I have to add on to is Malie brings up that she chose death over being in, like, prison, but she knew she was breaking the law. Therefore, she should have been prepared for a punishment. Like, when you break the law here, you go to jail. So she almost in a way doesn't deserve to just be able to kill herself, because she still needs to get punished for breaking the law.
Alrighty. We're going to stop the rebuttal section at this point, being that all sides have been heard and each team member has stated multiple times a rebuttal. Now let's head to the closing arguments. We'll have Antigone's team go first.
Go, Kaike.
Oh, am I doing the conclusion? Okay. Or in conclusion, or we're doing the conclusion, right? Okay. In conclusion, Antigone was strong-minded and determined to not only allow her brother to be at peace, but to prove to the prideful king Creon that he is not the final ruler. He is in no position to decide people's actions and beliefs, especially punish them for it. He was in the wrong for defying the gods themselves and using his authority to get away with it. He was foolish enough to let pride eat away at his leadership, and Antigone's bravery allowed him to open his eyes and finally realize it.
Okay. In conclusion, as a leader, Creon had many other duties to fulfill to keep Thebes in check. Creon eventually tried to make things right, but due to Antigone killing himself, Creon eventually tried to make things right and realized. And Antigone was a bit of a drama queen and attention seeker and made irrational decisions and acted before she thought.
Alrighty, here concludes the trial of Antigone versus Creon. Give yourselves a hand. That was well done on both of your parts. I'm impressed. Moving on, we're all going to remain friends. You guys did a really good job counterclaiming, putting up your dukes with evidence and explanation. I'm going to sort it out in my head. And while I do that, you guys are going to get onto Canvas. And what you have here is you have a quick, and it's just one question. So if you guys get into your Canvas, we should be on 3.10, which is Lord of the Flies, March 8th. Oops, where did it go? Where am I? Oh, sorry, 3.9. So Antigone trial verdict. So you click on that and then you answer the question of who basically was in the right. After you're done with that, you head down to the bottom of the discussion board and explain why you chose either Antigone or Creon as the person who made the right decisions. I need you guys to add 2 pieces of evidence. So that would be more like a copy and paste of evidence that you've gathered in your notes. And then just wrapping it up. So this is kind of like a CER. So make sure you state your claim, provide 2 pieces of evidence. For each piece of evidence, make sure that you guys explain yourselves. And then I'm gonna go look back at the notes. Alrighty. I would say about, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes. Ken, I wanna see a really healthy paragraph. Well done, you guys. I'm very proud of you guys. I'm very impressed. All righty. So I'm going to just show you guys what your class and my period 1 selected for the Antigone trial verdict, just to show you guys what as a collective group what happened. Okay, so who was in the right in their actions? Out of 15 students, Antigone is viewed as being in the right, which is quite interesting. In my other class, Team Creon had more what do you call that? People, more lawyers defending Creon, and I believe this class as well. So it seems like there have been some lawyers that that crossed the line into Team Antigone side, which I think is kind of cool. But anyway, for our class, I'm going to have to rule that Creon was guilty of causing the chaos because he was the ruler of the land. And Team Antigone proved that Antigone was in the right in what she did because of the evidence that was presented based on her following the rule of the gods, and also going back to the issue of Eteocles and Polynices. Both teams, however, presented extraordinary evidence, and I commend both sides for doing so. So, congratulations. All right, let's move on. Well done. I am so impressed. I'm like extra credit queen over here, just like mind blown. So good job, you guys. I really am so proud of you guys. This class, again, you dudes that were not here last semester, this class is pretty extraordinary. And so you two that came in, quite interestingly, added more to the collective intelligence and efforts of period 5, which I think is pretty impressive as well. So so glad to have everyone in this class, and so glad that I get to be your teacher. Every single week I see you guys. Anyhow, let's move on. So we are going to move on to Lord of the Flies. And so I just want to give you guys kind of this heads up here. Okay, there were some calls I needed to make because we are kind of, we're headed towards the end of the year with fourth quarter. Okay, Lord of the Flies is, we'll be honest, not the most challenging read. Okay, in fact, it's very accessible. You will be able to read this no problem. What I've done is I've spaced out the reading so that everybody actually reads. Okay, so if you guys look at the schedule, we are going to be reading essays and integrating them and embedding the ideas from the essays and other supplementary materials into the Lord of the Flies. Okay, so I just want you guys to just check out what's going on. So this week, you're only going to read chapter 1. Okay, next week, you're only going to be reading chapters 2 and 3. But what I'm going to ask of you guys, each and every one of you guys, is that you make these incredible statements and demonstrations of knowledge. Okay, and so we're gonna start today with a jigsaw on Tūtū's Aloha Aina Grace, Intergenerational Wisdom. And this is by Dr. Kamana Mayakalani Beamer from Waimea side. Okay, he is going to talk to you guys or share his ideas about his Tūtū's Aloha Aina and the gifts she gave to him and passed it down. That's what intergenerational means, right? You take something that the generation before you had, and you take it and you learn from it. Okay, so we're going to get started with that. Who has their setting the foundations of the kauhale? Yes, question. Oh, you're getting it. Go grab it. Yeah. Does everybody have it? Yeah, McKenna, you have yours. Do you have a highlighter? Do you have like a blue pen or a red pen or something to mark the text? Okay, and then let's go ahead and find this. You need to let me know if you do not, or this thing was lost, because it's really sad because I made this just for you guys. Anyhow, let's go ahead and find it in our packet. Okay, it's after giving back. It's after the seekers. We're gonna skip these like really short mo'olelo. The Lazy Beauty is one of my most favorite poems because it's like, hey, can you turn my potato? It's a really cute story. You guys can read it sometime, but it's hilarious just because it speaks to teenagers. And so we are at Tūtū's Aloha Aina Grace, Intergenerational Wisdom. Did everybody find it? All righty. Okay, are you good? All righty. Where'd Lele go? Okay, so let me, in the chat, I'm going to give you guys the link. Let me make sure that you're able to access it. Okay. And then, so everybody is going to have access to this. Where? Lele. Okay. Everyone. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and click on this. This is your class set here. So everybody's going to be responsible for some slides. 2 of you guys will be working on the introduction. 2 of you guys will be working on the conclusion part. So what we have here is we have this question. How does the concept of Aloha Aina play, okay, a role in Lord of the Flies? So you're going to notice that maybe the characters have this concept of Aloha Aina. Maybe they don't. And what role does it play in the story? Okay, so let's go ahead. This essay is broken up into 5 sections. So we'll have, look at that. Did I make a mistake? I put the BFFs in the same group. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna send McKenna and Tehani, you guys are going to go into a breakout room just because you guys can talk. And then I believe everybody else has their own. Oh, wait. Oh, did I make a mistake? Hang on. Oh my gosh, did I make a mistake? No, I did not. Okay, and then I'm gonna have Kamakani and Lele in their own breakout rooms as well. The rest of you guys can just stay in the main room because it's not like you have to talk to yourself, right? What you're going to be doing is you're going to find, you're actually going to find 5 talking points and then 1 picture. So the picture should really focus on your section of reading, okay, of the reading. Alrighty, so those of you guys who are not in the breakout rooms, just stay here. The rest of you guys, go ahead. About 10 minutes, okay? Okay, go for it. So the rest of us, we should be highlighting, okay? You can use your metacognitive markers. You can go ahead and, you know, if there's something important, exclamation, highlight, star it, emoji it, okay? Be ready to talk about it. You three, impressive. Look at you presented some really good points. It was just that the other team just kind of, you could almost feel the momentum slip away. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, it's me. I figure you guys can bounce ideas off of each other, especially because it's kind of an important section. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is kind of a Aoi kind of story. Okay. Well, essay, but we'll get through it.
It's the bottom half of page 13.
All right.
So you guys have a really important section because there's a lot going on in the end. Okay, so make sure that you're able to talk about this section. There's, it's pretty heavy. Okay. All righty. About 10 minutes. Yeah. So don't forget to like highlight, star things, maybe even write down some things like you want to say about it. Okay. And then we'll share out. Okay, how's it going?
Good. Were we just supposed to read our part?
Yeah, and then you're just doing the talking points, right? So you're the fullness of Aloha. Did you read the entire article?
No, not yet.
Just read your part. That's why it's called a jigsaw.
Okay.
Yeah. You're a part of the puzzle. Yes, Malie.
By talking points, you just mean what they talk about, right?
Yeah, you're just gonna summarize what are the things we need to know from the section.
Okay.
Did you do that?
Working on it, yes.
Okay. Did you pick up your book?
No, I didn't have time. My brother does taiko after school on like
Yeah.
Thursdays and Tuesdays, so we were gonna go then.
Okay.
My mom couldn't go because she has work until like 3.
Oh.
I'll get it soon though. But I have the virtual
PDF. Yeah, that's fine too. I mean, if you don't want to pick it up and you think you can handle, I'm trying to save your eyes.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm reading on my own. I'm reading chapter books, my own chapter books on the side.
Well, okay. Are we done? Let me check. Okay, and then don't forget to find a picture that helps to tell your story. Okay, your section. Very good. Good job, Kaike. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for like specific. I mean, you can just do a copy and paste or whatever, but this is good. Okay, and then as we go through our sections, you'll be highlighting your own book. Okay. Kaike, do you want to be a lawyer? Not at all. What did you say you wanted to do?
I want to be an architectural engineer.
Wow, that's cool. You like buildings then? You like looking at buildings and things?
Yep.
Gosh.
I like looking at buildings. Yeah.
So like, or even like, you know how they have like on and off ramps and like they build the roads up really high? Like that must interest you ish.
Wait, what do you mean?
So in the mainland, yeah, they have like from the highway, sometimes they have like other like ramps going up above
Yeah.
the road and it's like super high. I don't know. Have you been to like San Francisco to check out the architecture there? It's so cool.
I haven't.
Oh, New York?
No. I've been to where have I been? I've been to Virginia and Detroit.
Totally. Super old cities, yeah.
Yeah.
You know where else too? Auckland.
As a kid, I Oakland.
Yeah. No,
As a kid,
Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh, okay. When I was a kid, I used to play a lot with Legos. I was
Mhm.
really into that. I was just like, wow, maybe I can go somewhere with this. You know, build Legos just with actual things. Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, you know, like being like an indigenous architect, like there's so much space for you to claim there. It's really cool. Oh, look, you came back. I'm just gonna close out the rooms. Are we ready? Okay, so let's do this. I'm just gonna check. We have the introduction ready. Malia, don't forget to grab a picture. We need picture. Okay. Kaike picture. And then where's Kamakani? Yeah, don't forget to grab a picture, yeah. Yeah, what does Auntie Nona Beamer look like? Yeah, good to know. Right, you're gonna see her face a lot. And then like also, this is what Kamana Beamer looks like. Once he comes to our campus every once in a while because he has a kid that I think attends middle school. And he's done several talks at our school. But you never know, you might like see him. Like it was crazy. He came to visit our school last year. And then he went and had lunch with his kid. And then, I don't know, in the afternoon, I jumped on a plane to go paddle on another island. And guess what? I was like a fangirl. I saw him on the plane too. And I was like, hi. But I didn't say hi. I mean, he's just really a cool, down to earth. He's really into talking about how the ahupua'a is kind of like the solution for the rest of the world. And this thing called circular economy, so that nothing is wasted in our environmental system. It's kind of an interesting thing, being that I just bought another pair of shoes. I don't know. I can't help it. I really like shoes. Anybody else really like shoes?
Shoes are great.
Yeah. I got these Nike sneakers because teachers have to go back to campus after spring break. And I'm like, oh, now I need new shoes because, I got to walk outside. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, let's get started with our quick presentation. I like to jigsaw just because it gets us through something that normally would take us a long time to do. Okay. But it also gets us to share out our ideas as well. So we're going to start off at slide number 3 with the beginning of, and then I'm just going to share my screen with you guys, and then you guys can kind of talk through it. How's that? I think that works out just fine. Okay, so let's have McKenna and Tehani start. Oh, by the way, sorry. The rest of you guys should be highlighting, yeah, as they go along. Okay, go ahead.
So in the very first paragraph, it talks about Hawaiian relationships that were celebrated with the ones they loved through song, dance, and other things as well. And the memories they had while young and till this day when they reconnected. They explained how important their relationship is with their Tūtū or with anyone that they encountered deep and they had a deep connection with.
Can you just refresh it real quick?
Oh, yeah.
There was in order. There.
Ta-da.
Okay, so on the first page, he talks about how she practiced hula and oli since birth. And then in 1937, she was expelled from Kamehameha schools for dancing hula and chanting. So when she, they told her that in Pauahi's will, she wrote that students were not supposed to practice anything Hawaiian. And then when she asked to see it, they wouldn't let her. And then that's probably because they were dishonest, because there's nothing in Pauahi's will that says anything like that. So
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop you because I realized that I've had so much fun with you guys today that class has ended again. I swear, I don't know how I do this every single time. It's like I could spend all day with you, but clearly we have to go because I'm sure some of you have to use the bathroom. Okay, but on top of that, I think some of you guys are also going to your bio. Did anybody do the bio investigation yet?
Good job, by the way, on your acting skills.
I'm going to say that I'd rather much be an English teacher. What'd you say?
Are you the culprit?
I don't know, but at least I know what a toothbrush is. Okay, so anyway, go ahead and start reading chapter 1. Okay, and then I will send you a link to get on to what we're doing for each section of the reading. You guys are going to be working in Book Creator, okay, and I'm going to send you the code so that you can start making your own book, and then you can have access to my book so you can see what it should look like. Okay, so take notes as you read. Have a great week. See ya.